Alrighty, I'm gonna make this kind of brutally honest for a criticism sucks, but I think it's kind of about time to get some real brutal honesty in this motherfucker. Like, if you're the type of person that only hinges on waiting for games from PlayStation Studios and AAA bangers, the games that will take from upwards of about 3 to 7 years, if not more, in development due to these high demands that you want, whether it's graphics, whether it's storytelling, whether it's characters, whether it's legit follow-up sequels where the mechanics have to be even more superior than the first one. If you're the type that gets angry because a AAA banger isn't announced yet as a new IP, you're going to be a very, very fucking disappointed, sap-sucking motherfucker. You're gonna be fucking disappointed. And the reason why is because this is long dev cycles. It's not like anything new or something we haven't heard in the past. You're going to witness a lot of games over there at PlayStation Studio, not just Naughty Dog, but a lot of games over there not really being talked about. Where is Ghost of Tsushima 2? They're working on it. Where is Infamous? And where is Sly Cooper? Sucker Punch said we're not working on those franchises right now. Where is Factions Part 2? They could not find a way to implement a proper monetization scheme. Therefore, because of that, the game is being put on ice, and already, according to the inside report from Bloomberg and Jason Schreier, they are not happy with the idea of traditional multiplayer collapsing. This is quite honestly the death of traditional multiplayer, trying to turn everything into Fortnite and have this longevity behind it where it keeps going and going and going and going. Some studios, they don't want to do that for like 10 years. Some studios aren't built equally, so therefore, because of that, the game's being put on ice until they figure out what to do with it. I don't want it to be canceled, but if it has to be canceled for the sake of a great single player campaign, well, so be it. All I wanted anyway was traditional multiplayer factions, gun on gun action, maybe some additions of new maps, the clickers walking around. The game sounded way too ambitious for its own good anyway, which I talked about in countless times in videos where I'm like, them trying to do a multiplayer game with a full-fledged story behind it that goes on for like 10 years, that's probably gonna take 10 years of development, if not more, with all those elements added on top of it, as well as it being games as a service and a top echelon AAA experience, right? Like, Factions 2 ain't going to be released tomorrow, according to that logic. Where's Insomniac's Wolverine? Well, they announced it, but I guess full gung-ho until 2025, right? It's like, like, why isn't this studio cooking? Sony is creatively bankrupt now. They're not working on any games. They're not. I'm impatient. I'm just super fucking impatient right now. As well, you know, that's the fucking breaks, right? You know, you're gonna be disappointed. I know. There is gonna be disappointment at these announcements. Where's Sony Ben's game? Oh well, we are Sony Ben. Our last game flopped, which was Days Gone. We're not fucking making a Days Gone 2, no matter how many times people try to will that into existence. Oh, now we have to do a high stakes single player game with some multiplayer elements, and we have to present this in the right way. Otherwise, we're getting shit canned because Sony Ben is like putting out, you can't put out another flop. It can't happen. And I think if they do it, I think if it happens and their new IP is considered a flop, that is the end of that studio. Now, this is a high risk industry. It's a high risk industry, high risk, high reward. You gotta put out some output that's actually pretty stunning. What is Guerrilla doing? Horizon 274. but we haven't seen Horizon 3 yet. No, let's wait on that. Where's the big MMO multiplayer for Horizon? Oh, we know it exists. They're working on it. These games take time. This is why I don't inherently just focus on one specific thing in regards to my interest. I want these games to be in a presentable fashion so they look good, sound good, feel good, play good, and then I just wrap up my opinions in a nice little bow. I understand that PlayStation Studios should communicate to people more, but at the same time, I'm kind of thinking, okay, this little amount of text, what does it do for me of them saying, oh, we have X, Y, and Z in development? Let's move on. Unannounced projects. Sorry guys, it's gonna take some time. What does that do for me? I want to see it nearly halfway done or fully complete in that trailer. I want to see as much gameplay as possible. A little fucking blurb of text doesn't do anything for me, and I'm coming to realize that now. As much as I want to see these projects, I want to see them when they're ready. Until then, I got plenty of games to play. You motherfuckers act like you have nothing to play. If you're a diehard PlayStation freak, go play Spider-Man 2. That shit's coming out in like what, 2 weeks? Right? That's a AAA banger. That's gonna be a AAA banger from Insomniac. You talk all this praise about Insomniac having they are the top of the industry. They are putting out game after game after game. Well, go play their game in the next 2 weeks, because that is what Sony's putting out right now. I'm sure there's going to be a PlayStation showcase. I'm sure, I don't know, someone needs to slap Jim Ryan's mama, because apparently, like, I don't know why he is holding back games, but if they're not ready, they're not ready. I could come to the rational delineation point and say, I don't want them to show something that looks like shit, because when they decide to be more open and honest and transparent, motherfuckers can't handle that anyway. Look at GTA 6. When that got leaked in an unpresentable format, there were folks saying that the gameplay looked like dog shit, that the graphics looked like dog shit. Now I wonder, it can't be because that was in a pre-alpha state, right? Pre-alpha, not even gonna look close. Not even gonna look close to final. And there were people criticizing that game like they owned it. Like it was in their motherfucking hands. Like they were playing it right then, right fucking there. Drives me wild that people will jump to a conspiracy-driven conclusion that early. It's not gonna look nothing like that at all. I guarantee you that game is gonna look on par with like Red Dead 2. Look on par or look even better. Guarantee it. But no, there's motherfuckers out there ostracizing the fuck out of that pre-alpha. Like there isn't going to be a bunch of changes, like there isn't going to be a bunch of updates, like there isn't going to be a sort of like big graphical eye candy leap when they finally get to that gold master disc. It's insanity. It's insanity. I do strongly believe that if developers put out more pre-alpha footage just to be more transparent, then people are going to take that and they're going to get the wrong idea. They're going to get the wrong idea. They're going to grift. They're going to run with it. We live in a age. We live in this age of engagement farming for clout. We do. We know. I know it. I know it already. I know you crazy fucking motherfucking weirdos love to take something and run with it. Even if it's not even remotely true or the source is kind of cropped. I know this. I know people do that often. So, am I trusting Kotaku with the Factions Part 2 news story? Absolutely not. I don't even like Kotaku that much. I mean, they feature one of my Last of Us videos, so hey, thank you very much for that. But and parts of their journalism, which I found to be readily annoying in the past, I would rather take Jason Schreier's word over theirs. You know, it's the same thing I feel about James Gunn. The dude doesn't have to talk to you all. Like, I don't believe he doesn't owe an answer for every stupid fucking question out there. Like, sure, there are some questions that could be answered, like where is Factions 2? That's fine to say that, but every stupid fucking question that's out there online, oh, you're doing this and that, such and such, blah blah blah, don't make this that, and then don't implement this in there, and then make it a AA game, and then make it an indie game, reduce the budget, maybe shit will come out like a little bit faster if fucking the game didn't look up to snuff and look ugly, even though I would complain about it anyway. Like, people are wild. I know it. Like, you make one solution and then you create another problem that you're gonna bitch about anyway. That's what you do. That's what you do on this app. You make a problem for yourself. You make a problem for yourself. You want to see something in a unpresentable fashion, and then you know you're gonna shit on that motherfucker like white on rice. You know it's gonna happen. I know how you people work. It's not all of you. It's just some of you out there in this whole clout engagement farming era of gaming that we entered. So let's go back to the final point here. The final point. I believe PlayStation Studios is cooking. I believe they have games, but they're not ready to show them off yet, which is supposedly the main reason why they've held back conference after conference after conference of showing their heavy hitters. AAA games take a long time. If you're just a AAA game bandwagoner, or you just care about these games only, and specifically, you're going to be disappointed that they take too long or they have no updates. But you're going to be there day one when they are confirmed. Yes, you are. You're definitely going to be there. You're definitely, all the people that are saying that these studios are creatively tapped and creatively bankrupt, you're gonna be there day one to talk about these titles, because that's what you do. You farm the engagement, right? And you're gonna be possibly playing these titles too. It's common sense. I'm sorry, I'm sick coughing right now, but it's like being on an assembly line. I don't think you people are gonna get off of it. At this point, if I hated Sony that much, I would have converted to Xbox by this point. I would have converted to PC by this point. I am not beholden to any console of the sort. I can always jump ship and play something else. As long as I have a wide variety of games to play, I'm not gonna be on a platform I don't like. I'm just not gonna be on the platform I don't like at all, because that doesn't make any sense to me. That makes zero sense to me, to be on a platform that I hate, and I hate the games too and all that other stuff. But motherfuckers just really are either impatient or in denial, as if these games aren't in development and they need to play something else. Now, we know how you people kind of act and respond when PlayStation shows off a state of play and it's full of indies or AA's or games that's not fascinating to your cup of tea. All right, fine. However, if you are one of these people saying that these indies, AA's, and standalone expansions need to take over the industry because you're tired of waiting legions of years for a AAA game to be completed, yet you will scoff at the idea of how indies and AA games look, you're simply entitled. It's no other way to slice it. You have a presentation standard that you need presented in certain games, and that's it. Why not be a real gamer that plays everything under the sun that he could get his hands on, that he feels like, and go from there. Right? You don't have to rely on just COD. You don't have to be like Dr. Disrespect making all the, oh, there's nothing in gaming to play, but I only play Call of Duty for the rest of my life. Right? At that point, it's like, open your eyes. Open your eyes at that point. Because this dude's out here with full-fledged backlogs, making assessments like that. They don't be finishing half of the titles that they be hyping up. It's wild out here. It is fraud central out here. And the funniest thing of all time is that's another thing that has an easy problem but an easy solution: to expand your horizons. And then at that point, you won't be mad at simply saying, oh, you know, this is my livelihood. I have to get this game in my hands because this is my livelihood. I get it. Like, a franchise sometimes not coming out, that could mean less money, but play something else. Be a very content creator. Like, a lot of people be just blowing me. Like, they'd be like, oh, I'm a variety content creator. I stick to one franchise. What? Excuse me? Excuse me? Excuse me? Like, I'm a variety content creator. I'm only going to play one type of game and complain when that franchise does not get a new release. That is bonkers to me. Bonkers. Capital B, capital S at the end. You can also call it bullshit too, because that's what it is. Oh my god. All right, look. Factions Part 2 multiplayer, you know, reason, like I said, reason it ain't coming out is because they cannot find a proper way to turn this into a long-term Fortnite monetized extravaganza. And that's common. That's common in the gaming industry. You will have behind the scenes development of games that is going through several changes. Need I remind you people of Resident Evil 4 and how that game changed like 3 or 4 times before we got the game that we all know and love? But we had a zombie version, we had a hallucination version, we had, you know, so many different iterations of that game that got split off and spliced off into other projects like Haunting Ground and Devil May Cry. The development was hell for Resident Evil 4. They didn't know what they wanted it to be. And then we got the game that they settled on, that was the final product that we all know and love. But it ain't like 5 or 10 iterations of that game did not fucking happen. Yeah, that's gonna be common. There's gonna be people getting fired too, or people quitting, or creative differences because one person's not gonna agree. Some Naughty Dog ain't gonna agree with Bungie ain't gonna agree with Naughty Dog. The Fortnite guy said, fuck it, I'm out. It's like, you know, fuck it, I'm out. I ain't making no money off of this if they can't figure it out. So I'm out of here. Deuces. It happens. It happens for movies too. You know how many fucking times there's been like directors that, oh, I'm interested in an MCU project, oh, I'm not now. Or I just will do my own thing. I'll be Edgar Wright. I'm just gonna do my own thing. I don't feel like doing this interconnected universe. I'm sorry, Kevin Feige. I'm just sorry. I got a ditch. I got a bell on this. And it's like, all right, fair enough. We'll let you go. We'll get someone else. Peyton Reed, come on in. It's like, none of this is a fucking shocker to me at all. Like, zero. None. Zero. It's the most common stuff. Could PlayStation be a little bit more transparent? Sure, they can. But like I said earlier, these text blurbs, or these like sort of cyberpunk 2077 text blurbs of updates, they do nothing. I need visualization and gameplay, and if I ain't getting that, I don't care. I do not. Look, you need your gameplay and your trailer to entice me, not words. Words ain't gonna do it for me no more. You know, you could probably say I'm also a little bit impatient, but at least my impatience is coming from a place of understanding, right? I'm not gonna say, oh, they're not working on shit, because that's fucking stupid. But my impatience comes from a place of understanding, like, oh, well, just show it when you're ready, and when you're ready, I'll make a decision to put down that money. That's how I see it, right? I'm not gonna say, oh, fucking, because Naughty Dog is making a Last of Us remaster. It's the end of the world. The world's on fire. I'll leave off with one more point here, all right? Because the Last of Us community is like in total disarray, but I just want you to see the objective facts here. When they ported The Last of Us from PS3 to PS4, this is like a generation later, when the new console was out and everything was fresh. When you people say that remasters are the worst thing in the world, people are creative. They made a lot of Last of Us like re-releases, like that is true. But listen. For the first part, they only took 1 year to port that game to the PS4. Remember that? Part 2 is like, if it comes out in 2024, it'll be like 4 years later with a possible $10 upgrade path, something relatively inoffensive that is meant to get more people who are gonna watch season 2 into the show. That's another thing too, like a lot of you gamers out there, you be fake outraging and pretending like every single thing is meant for you when you could just simply skip it and move on. Like, holy shit. Like, if you don't want the $10 upgrade path for a remaster, and again, we had $10 complained about before, with absolutely new content with separate ways. So apparently $10 is like out of the equation for price points now. It's like, oh, it's not $70 being the issue, it's $10. And now a meager upgrade that's gonna come out 4 years later, because we know that the people always say this too, the PS5 version being updated with The Last of Us Part 2 at 60 FPS. Oh, that's enough. Those load screens are terrible. The load times are trash. So they can make a PS5 version and make those better. They have added content. If Gustavo can be approached and talked to, that wasn't in the original. And I'm sure that if they want to up the ante and put in more additional scenes, that's going to sell a director's cut. A director's cut is like still the idea of adding in content that possibly was on the cutting room floor for the original. And there was a lot of stuff cut in The Last of Us Part 2 from what we remember, to a very large scale actually. I don't know how much they're gonna add or how big this project is, but I mean, if it's $10, I get it. I mean, shit, Spider-Man remaster, that was a $10 upgrade path, and that was mostly for performance. I got that shit, no problem. I have no problems playing a game for quality of life purposes that I already enjoy from the outset. You know, I'm not gonna fake fraud like, oh, I don't like quality of life games. I don't like any of that. I'm not gonna be like these people out here be like, oh, I don't like any of that, and then they praise something like Shadow of the Colossus remake that did exactly what I was talking about, quality of life improvements, just rebuilt from the ground up as a 1-for-1 remake. So I'm just gonna put that out there. It's fine. You're fine. You're fine. Remasters filled the void all the time. Resident Evil had plenty of fucking remasters. When Origins Collection came out, and then they put out Revelations 1, Revelations 2. It's fine. It's ultimately fine. Yeah, there is no unwritten age rule for remasters. You're good. You're fine. As long as they made, like, I could see if it was like, you're only creatively bankrupt if they weren't making a new IP. That's what people seem to forget. If you're not making that new IP or pushing the envelope on the existing sequels or anything like that, if you're not making new content at all for the future, then you're creatively bankrupt. Like, I think people are just slinging that shit around like prime hard candy and not really understanding the deeper meaning behind development for certain studios. But this was the end of this video. I just wanted to put this out there and sort of say that some of these bogus opinions on PlayStation Studio is ridiculous. And like I said, I agree with the nature that they need to talk about games going forward after Spider-Man 2, because after Spider-Man 2 we will have nothing but the third-party announcements they showed, and that's it. We need to hear from first-party studios in 2024. We got to do it, because what is there to look forward to? That is a fair and reasonable circumstance to take, but all this other shit like, oh, creatively tapped, and these same people are going to be playing these same games? You're going to be grifting about these same supposed creatively bankrupt games more than some of the games that you actually seem to stand and play? I find that to be absolutely hilarious. The same goes for, oh, we need more creativity in the industry. We need this. We need this to come into fruition, but we won't buy any of these games. That's why some of Sony Japan's game or Japan Studio, that's why those games kind of flopped, and they don't have the same recognition or sales as a Spider-Man. This is why, like, every time I sit there for a state of play, I just always ostracize the motherfucker when they present indies and third-party games and AA games, and I just won't support this or that or the third. Let me just complain about it under the sun. Where are the first-party games that entice my experience? It's not like I complained about the fact that the Sony showcase or state of play was just simply focused on indies last week. This is why I can't take a few of you motherfuckers seriously, because you will contradict yourself off the rip. You'll say there needs to be more creativity, there needs to be more indies and AA games and standalone expansions. But on the flip side to that, if they don't show anything relating to the AAA stratosphere, you will say the conference is garbage. It's a 5 out of 10, a 4 out of 10, a 3 out of 10. They didn't do enough, because where is the Sony AAA first party titles? Why are they neglecting what I bought a console for? I think if you bought a console specifically for first party AAA games, then you are sort of setting yourself up for disappointment, at least in regards to PlayStation. Maybe even sometimes Xbox, because some of those Xbox first party games are also in deep development. Perfect Dark, deep development. Fable, deep development. Hellblade 2, that took a while before we got an update that is coming out next year, I believe. Yeah, that's the nature of the business. This is why you expand your horizons. I don't mind playing a AA game. I don't mind playing a AAA game. I don't mind playing an indie game from any sort of studio, because there are people that are just solely locked into one studio and they act like other studios don't fucking exist. When you have that sort of just brand tunnel vision and you can't see anything like Dr. Disrespect did outside of COD, you're going to be bored of gaming. You're going to be bored, because that's the only fucking thing you play is Call of Duty. That's it. You're going to be short-sighted, and you're handicapping yourself to all these great games out there that are releasing that PlayStation and other brand studios promoted in the first place. Go out and play them and stop bitching. the other Sony studio games are coming. It's just gonna take time, it's gonna take patience, it's gonna take perseverance. I would say if they don't deliver any news after 2024, then you have the right to burn them asunder. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I think we're gonna hear something in 2024, 2025. You're gonna get what you wanted. There's gonna be something out there. There's something for everybody moving forward into the future. You fucking know this. Don't even say I'm leading you astray or that I'm wrong on that subject, because I'm absolutely not. The funny thing is, I always see the reverse happen. Games that people quote unquote say is the standard of video gaming moving forward, with like Baldur's Gate 3 or games of that nature, I see more people complain about unreleased games, unspecified games, games that have altering development than those games that are already having studios at the top of the mountain, right? It's because it's easy to go after anything that has received a lot of positive reception in the past, because of this whole nature of negativity in the algorithm. Like I said before, I already said this like countless times before, that positive engagement is shit compared to negative engagement, and sometimes people want to game the system because of that. I think I said this in a scrap recording. It's the same thing with James Gunn. He does not have to answer every single motherfucker on the internet with their dumbass bogus questions. Some people be asking dumbass bogus questions. You be pretending that it's like, oh god, I'm entitled to ask this question. Yeah, you are, but sometimes it is a dumbass bogus question. They be asking questions that's inappropriate. They be making up shit, going along with shit. Oh, you hated Henry Cavill the whole fucking time. Some of you people don't need to be entertained. I'm sorry. That's just what I think. Some of you don't deserve to be entertained by a creator, because it's not even constructive with the questions you be asking sometimes. Like, not even. If I was a creator, I was making video games, and someone asked me some bogus shit like, oh, if you hated your co-host or co-worker the whole time while making this game, and there's no sort of truth to back that up, I wouldn't entertain that bullshit. I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's just another internet troll ranting at the end of the day. Some of you don't need to be entertained in the gaming community, so you can't get really mad if they decide not to entertain bullshit. Sometimes it don't need an answer. Like, folks just need an answer for everything. Not everything needs an answer if it's not true. That's how I feel. Like, at that point, like, what am I doing? I'm just wasting time. Some troll got some question to say, or some faulty source, I'm wasting time answering that shit. Like, okay, smoothly along back to development, if that's the case, right? That's how it is. Anyway, this is Renegade Operative signing out. Sometimes your criticism sucks, and sometimes you just can't temper your expectations worth a damn. Sometimes you can't validate your news sources to be worth a damn as well. Let's wait for solid information. Let's not start sucking our own dicks quite yet. Inflated expectations. That's what we got. Dumbass bogus questions and inflated ass expectations. We're a preacher now. Dumbass bogus questions and inflated ass expectations. And there's nothing to really talk about with unspecified, unreleased games. They will be coming, but until then, you're asking dumbass bogus questions. I'm Reverend Operative. I'll see you guys later. Peace the fuck out.